financial zen. Happy birthday to you. Yay! You thought these were just decoration, didn't you? Happy birthday, Financial Zen. Okay, I swear that's my first sip of champagne. If you know me, if you've known me a minute, you know I don't need champagne to be this goofy. Anyways, happy birthday, Financial Zen. I can't believe you're 5. Oh my gosh. Big boys all grown up. So I was asking Nicole, like, what should I talk about? Like, what should be the point of this? And she was like, honestly, just speak from the heart. Like, the best material is sometimes the unrehearsed stuff that you just say off the cuff. So she's a smart lady, so I'm gonna listen to her instructions. 5 years, wow. It was 5 years ago this day, I left this very apartment all suited up with my resignation letter in hand and the list of clients that I was gonna take with me, because that's how you have to do it, you know, for the legal compliance stuff. And hopped in an Uber and went down to 555 California Street and went up to the 21st floor, I think we were on, and went into my boss's office. He knew I was coming, and he even knew it was coming. He was like, yeah, I knew this was coming. I was like, hey, boss, starting my own shop. I'm going RIA. I'm going independent. See ya. It was pretty cool. It is pretty cool, too. I was thinking about it this morning. There were like, I think 100 plus brokers, financial advisors in that office. It was the second largest office in the country for Wells Fargo. And I don't know a single solitary person that went independent my entire time there. I did catch wind that one person that I used to work with eventually went independent, which is what you call it when you start an RIA, when you leave the big brokerage and you start your own business. But that's pretty cool. I mean, I knew I was in the minority, but I never really thought about that before. And the reason is because it's so freaking hard. It is, I can't tell you how much work it's been. Not as much work, and not necessarily as bad a hell as I went through just surviving on my own with my principles and not, you know, backing down and not selling out and doing things my way like I told you about in the last video. But pretty freaking hard. You know, first day I left, I came home and there was 9 boxes of paperwork, like big boxes, not like office file boxes, like banker boxes, like big boxes. And it was all the paperwork that Schwab had sent me that I needed to get everybody to sign to move everybody over to Schwab. We were drowning in paperwork, and I was doing that all on my own, which was nuts. Like, nobody does that on their own. And poor Nicole, we were both drowning in paperwork, like just for like 6 months, I think it took to get everybody kind of moved over. That was crazy. So that was a milestone. What are some other milestones, Financial Zen? Changing the fee structure. I know that sounds really mundane and boring, but that's a huge deal. That is the future. We are the future of what this looks like. So the problem. So I'm gonna get on my high horse for just a second. The problem with this entire industry is that you have to have a bunch of money to get the attention of a financial planner, and even then, most financial planners are only doing a financial plan for you so they can get your money. So it's like, hey, yeah, so we get paid based on the assets that you give us. Called an AUM fee, assets under management fee, and that's the way that we get paid. So we'll give you this financial plan as long as you give us your money, and as long as you have enough money to make it worth our while. Which is so backwards. Oh, it drives me nuts. I know it's not going to last long. I know what we're doing is the future, but it's still so frustrating. So when I started Financial Zen, I wanted to be able to work with people that couldn't get the attention of everybody else, right? Of other financial planners. Because they didn't have enough money to make it to make the fees that they would pay other financial planners worth their while. So anyway, when I broke apart the fee structure and set up a just monthly flat membership fee, and broke out the investment management to just 0.25%, like that's the way it should be. Where it's like, yeah, we'll manage your money for you too if you want us to. I mean, or you can keep it at Wealthfront or wherever, you know. But the real thing is the financial planning, and that's what you pay us for directly. So anyway, so that was a milestone, changing the fee structure. And then the last milestone, the most recent one, second most recent one actually. Oh, that's fun. That's how we'll end. Was hiring the team. So the significance last year of hiring Chantal and Taylor had been aboard in for a while. But when Chantal came aboard, hiring the first CFP, first financial planner, which could truly take off the advice and recommendations off of my plate, was significant in the sense that it took it from like a financial planning practice, where it was like me and the financial planning with, our member service associate with Taylor with the support staff, to a financial planning business, where it's like I'm not necessarily the guy doing the financial planning anymore. Somebody else is doing it. I'm the business owner. I'm running the show. I'm making sure that our members get the best experience and that everything's being done. Like that was huge. And that was a huge mental shift for me. And I think because of that, this last upgrade milestone, which has been happening this year, which is currently going on, because hiring Chantal and turning it into a business, and it's allowed this last milestone to happen. So the last milestone is, I've talked about it, like the missing piece that I always felt for the last 13 years that I've been a financial planner is that it almost doesn't go deep enough. That's actually exactly the way to put it. I've never put it that way. It didn't go deep enough, right? It was get your financial house in order. In order to do that, we'll do it better than the next guy. We'll make it a better experience for you, and we're gonna clean it up, and it's just gonna be a beautiful thing. That doesn't go quite deep enough, right? So getting your financial house in order, that's important. It's not do or die. It doesn't attach itself to like a sort of life-affirming goal. It's just smart. So this year when the light bulb went off, and I realized, and the reason why I actually shared those stories with you over the last 2 days is because I have done what I want to lead you to do, right? What I think I was put on this planet to do is this, obviously, because you can't do it as much as I do with as much passion as I have if it's not your calling. But I think my true calling, which has come into focus the last 4 months, is to, yes, get your financial house in order. That's important. That goes without saying. But then after that, what's the point of getting your financial house in order? So you can get out of the 9-to-5 grind that most people operate from, very smart overachievers operate from, that is actually holding them back from achieving these amazing things out in the world because they got bills to pay. So anyways, this new focus on, it just goes so much deeper, and it's like the leverage point where I help one person to get out of the 9-to-5, to graduate, to retire, and they go on and do amazing things. Well, that person doing amazing things is doing amazing things because we help them get there. Now, what's really cool in sharing the last stories over the last 2 days is, as you know from the first story, like I have lived my entire life without settling. Like I've never settled for anything. Be it where I live, be it what I do, never settle. But the hard road that I trod in my first 7 years as a financial planner is because I had to figure it all on my own. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have guides. I didn't have a framework where it's like, oh, I want to go do my own. I want to pursue my passion. I want to do this thing. I want to find something that I'm so passionate about. I wake up at 4:45 without an alarm, right? And we all deserve that. And I needed that. And I had to find that. But I found it on my own. I stumbled and I hit my head against the wall so many times, and like it was a very messy journey. Very messy. And I am now taking that journey and putting it into a framework, into a process where other people don't need to go down that terribly hard path that I went down. It's still going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. You can't just wake up tomorrow and retire and go pursue your passion, right? There's work involved. You have to want it. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's going to be quicker. And it's like the difference between figuring out your own workouts and doing the push-ups versus having a trainer be like, okay, here's what you need to do, but you still got to do the push-ups, right? So that's kind of like the path that I think we're going down, or that I know that we're now on, where it's I've done the hard work. I'm putting together the framework to get you out of your 9-to-5 so you can go do whatever it was, whatever your calling is, whatever this is, whatever financial zen, what financial zen is to me, whatever that is to you. Okay, I think I've rambled enough. I'm going to end this with my very favorite passage from my very favorite book ever, called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Stephen Pressfield wrote, as you'll hear, The Legend of Bagger Vance, which was that movie with Will Smith, the golf movie with Will Smith back in the 90s. Bestseller, blah, blah, blah. But he's most known among entrepreneurial circles for this book, The War of Art. If you run your own business, you've definitely read this book. But anyways, the book's about resistance, the difference between resistance and how amateurs versus professionals, people that like never get started, you're an amateur, people that just jump off the edge and do the thing are professionals. And anyways, it's a must read if you're a small business owner. There's this one passage that I've read so many times throughout my career as I hit these milestones. And so 5 years is a pretty big milestone. I think I shared with you, only 50% of small businesses make it 5 years. Only 30% make it 10 years. So depending on how you view my business, if it started when I started financial planning or if it started 5 years ago when I launched Financial Zen, I don't know, but I'm in the minority. And so 5 years is a milestone, and on this precipice of this new milestone where we're taking this and 10xing it, and we're taking it so much further than any of this stuff has ever been before, and carving out new categories and helping people in ways that nobody's been helped before. I thought this was a pretty good time to read this. So it encompasses everything. Okay. Word of warning, it has a swear word in it, only one at the very end. I didn't write it, I'm just reading it. This guy wrote it, so if you're sensitive to curse words, maybe fast forward. Okay. Or hold up my finger when I get to the curse word. How's that? You can mute. I don't know. That's mostly for my mother too, by the way. Okay. I'll just read you the best part. I worked for 26 months straight, taking only 2 out for a stint of migrant labor in Washington State. And finally, one day, I got to the last page and typed out, "The end." I never did find a buyer for the book, or the next one either. It was 10 years before I got the first check for something that I had written, and 10 more before a novel, The Legend of Bagger Vance, was actually published. But the moment when I first hit the keys to spell out "the end" was epical. I remember rolling the last page and adding it to the stack that was the finished manuscript. Nobody knew I was done. Nobody cared. But I knew. I felt like a dragon I'd been fighting all my life had just dropped dead at my feet and gasped out its last sulfuric breath. Rest in peace, motherfucker. Next morning, I went over to Paul's for coffee and told him I had finished. "Good for you," he said without looking up. "Start the next one today." Start the next one today. Once you hit the mountaintop, go find the next one. I thought this would be an appropriate time to reveal our new logo. New logo, new mountaintop. Come along for the journey. It's going to be pretty freaking awesome. Thanks for watching. Happy birthday, Financial Zen. We'll see you tomorrow.